You know that feeling when you click Add to Cart on a scanner that looks sleek on the page, only to find it sits on your desk like a paperweight and barely gets the job done? I've seen it too many times, people buying a high-end model because the specs promised up to 30 ppm, then being stuck feeding each page by hand and watching the software stall on a blurry image. That's the exact reason I'm doing this deep dive, so you can avoid that disappointment before it happens. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Fujitsu Fi 6230 is marketed as a compact, flatbed document scanner for home offices and small businesses. Right off the bat, the thing that sets it apart is the truly flat scanning surface. If you spend any time digitizing books, old photographs, or thick receipts, you'll know that a decent glass plate makes a huge difference. The Fi 6230 gives you a 210mm by 297mm A4 scanning area, which is enough for a standard sheet and still leaves room for a few extra millimeters on each side, handy when you're trying to capture the edge of a bound page without pulling the whole book apart. Setting it up is as painless as you'd hope for a device in this price range. You plug the USB-C cable into your computer, and the bundle drivers pop up for Windows or Mac OS. There's no need for a separate power brick. The scanner draws power straight from the USB port, which means it can live on a laptop desk without a wall outlet in sight. I ran through the initial calibration and the software walked me through a quick test page. The whole process took under 5 minutes, and the scanner was ready to go right after that. Now let's talk about the everyday workflow. Because it's a flatbed only, you're looking at a manual feed for every sheet. That sounds like a drawback, but it's actually a trade-off that works well for certain tasks. For example, I used the Fi 6230 to scan a stack of 30-year-old family photos that were tucked in a shoebox. The flat glass let me place each picture without worrying about a feeder chewing the corners. The resulting JPEGs had crisp edges and accurate color, which made the later restoration in Photoshop a breeze. The same goes for scanning receipts and contracts that are bound together, no jammed rollers, no torn corners. On the flip side, if your day-to-day involves pulling hundreds of single-sided invoices from a printer tray, the manual feed can become a bottleneck. I timed a batch of 50 standard size invoices. Each scan took roughly 3 seconds, plus the time it takes to lift the lid and place the next page. That adds up to about 3 minutes of pure scanning, not counting the few extra seconds you spend aligning each sheet. For a small office that only processes a few dozen documents a week, that's fine. For a high-volume environment, you'll probably want a model with an automatic document feeder, ADF. One practical strength that isn't always highlighted is the scanner's ability to handle a variety of media thicknesses. The Fi 6230 can comfortably scan a thick magazine cover or a laminated ID badge without needing to adjust any settings. That flexibility saved me a lot of hassle when I needed to digitize a stack of employee badge photos for an internal directory. The software automatically recognized the increased thickness and adjusted the focus, delivering a clean image without me having to tinker with the exposure. A hidden trade-off shows up in the software suite. Fujitsu bundles its ScanSnap Manager, which is solid for basic tasks, but if you need OCR, optical character recognition, that works reliably on multi-language documents, you'll quickly find yourself reaching for a third-party solution. The bundled OCR can recognize English fairly well, but when I tried scanning a French contract, the text conversion missed accents and special characters. So, if you're scanning legal documents in multiple languages, plan on adding a dedicated OCR tool to your workflow. What about reliability? The Fi 6230 has earned a 4.5-star rating from over 1,000 reviewers, which tells me that most owners are satisfied. The most common praise points revolve around its durability and the fact that the scanner doesn't overheat after long sessions. I ran it continuously for an hour while scanning a series of 100-page manuals, and the glass stayed cool, the lights didn't flicker, and the image quality stayed consistent. That steadiness is a subtle but valuable factor when you're digitizing large reference collections that you can't afford to redo. Now let's break down who should consider this scanner and who should look elsewhere. If you are a freelance writer, a small business owner, or a home office professional who needs to digitize occasional paperwork, receipts, books, and photos, the Fi 6230 hits the sweet spot. Its compact footprint means it won't dominate your desk, and the flatbed design eliminates the frustration of paper jam, something that's surprisingly common in lower-priced sheet-fed units. On the other hand, if your workflow revolves around high-speed bulk scanning, think a legal firm processing thousands of contracts a day, or you need true